Hey, welcome to the beautiful Texas coast. This is a great place to winter, and we'll be putting a video out about that later on. But for today, it's all RV living questions. We've compiled a list of 35 questions that we're going to answer today. Now, these questions come from our video comments, our Facebook questions, questions people ask us when we're face-to-face talking to them, and then maybe some questions that we had when we were thinking about going full-time in an RV.
There's definitely a lot of questions, and no answer is going to always be the same for everybody either, so just keep that in mind. We're going to answer how we feel about it, and so we may not feel the same as you feel about it, so just keep that in mind when you do that.
Right, now we're going to make this video in chapters, so there'll probably be 35 or 36 chapters because of the amount of questions we have. So if you go to the description of this video, which underneath the brief description that's in there, there's a show more. If you click that, it'll open that up and you'll be able to find the chapters. Now you'll also be able to find some videos that we'll put in a list for you that may go more in depth on some of these questions we're going to cover today, like maybe a video about black tank or a video about fifth wheel versus travel trailer. So if you want to get a more in-depth answer, go to that list and click on that video and watch that video. We still consider ourselves a pretty young channel.
Right.
And a way that you can help us out as a young channel is you can hit the like button when you're seeing things that you like in our videos, and you can give us a comment and let us know what you think about stuff in the video. Now for us, this is all part about community, right? So the community we have now is over 5,000 subscribers, and that community sometimes comes to our videos and looks for information, and if they may not get some of the information in the video, they might get something in the comments to help them out a little bit more. So that's how leaving a comment not only helps us, but helps our overall community as well. If you're new to our channel and haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time to hit the subscribe button. You can also hit that notification bell. That way, every time we put out new content, videos like this one answering all your questions, you'll get notified about that video and you'll be able to go and watch it. All right, now if we're gonna make it, we better hurry up and get to answering questions.
Right, so we got 35. Are you ready?
Let's go.
And number one, okay, so yes, we have them written down because I'm never going to remember 35 questions, okay? So number one, were you scared when you first started full-time RVing?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. We're both scared, I think, you know, very nervous. We're not rich by any means, but what we did is we went into it debt-free. We had money set aside that we felt would be enough money to last us 1 or 2 years. Maybe we could make something out of YouTube and make a little bit of money off YouTube to help extend our savings. Work camping.
Yep. Plan. Plan. We did a lot of planning. It took us 2 years to get out on the road full time because we did so much planning, we did so much preparation. So plan. All right.
Yes,
now
we were
moving
scared.
on. Moving on. Yes, we were scared. Are we now? No.
No.
Number two, when is the best time to start full time?
Right now.
Anytime.
Literally
when
right
you're
now.
Ready.
Every time I talk to people, we were talking to a young man just the other day in a local fish store in the fish market.
What was he, what, like 22?
You know, and he loves the idea of going out and getting on the road, so I encouraged him to get out on the road. You know, I said, do it responsibly, get your debt paid off, set some money aside, maybe find a job you can take on the road with you, but don't put off until tomorrow. Don't necessarily put off. Do it as quickly as you can, because the one thing that Alice and I are certainly aware of is that tomorrow is not promised, and there's no guarantees that we'll be here tomorrow.
Correct. All right, moving on. Where do you do laundry? Well, we try to use the RV parks first. If the RV parks are not clean, or there's not enough of them, or they're busy, we'll go to a laundromat. The park that we're in right now, we're going to go to use the laundromat after our first experience of using the RV park. So, wherever you can find laundry, that's where we go. Number 4, what do you consider the must-needed items to start your RVing with?
So must-have items?
Yeah.
For me, really, you know, you can start really super simple. Just your You're going to want a surge protector. For me, that's a must-have.
Right.
You're going to want your sewer hose, maybe one of those elevated things like a slinky to put the sewer hose on, because a lot of parks require them.
Require that, yes.
A bottle jack, or a jack that you can jack your trailer up and change a tire.
Yes.
We do have a video that has some of those things listed. But, you know, start real small. Don't go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, because you'll probably find that you bought stuff that you don't really need.
Right. My first must-have, and it's not a must-have, but it was for me, I like a water softener, because you never know what the water quality is going to be, hard, soft, or whatever. And with long hair, that's my first must-have. Everybody's must-haves are going to be different.
Right.
All right. Moving on. How to choose an RV? That's a tough question.
It is, and we did do a video on travel trailer versus fifth wheel, because we've owned both and lived in both. But what I will tell you, and I said in that video, is know yourself first. What kind of a camper are you going to be, or how are you going to do full-time RV living? Are you going to be RV living in RV parks, in campgrounds that have hookups, you know, that kind of stuff? Or are you planning on boondocking? Because the trailer makes a big difference when it comes to that. When we first started, we started in a 26-foot tow-behind travel trailer, and now we're in a 38.5-foot fifth wheel. Now, we love our fifth wheel.
Right.
But I would not want to have that fifth wheel as our trailer when we were living in Alaska, because living in Alaska, we did a lot of boondocking and a lot of kind of remote camping on riverbanks and stuff like that. And the roads and campgrounds just don't really fit that well with regards to a large fifth wheel.
Right.
So you'd find yourself limited on where you could stay.
Exactly. All right, so next, what type of RV is best? A travel trailer, fifth wheel, Class A? We kind of just discussed that we did a video on fifth wheel versus travel trailer, but that still goes right back to, it depends on what you want. What are you looking for? Do you want everything to where you can get up while you're driving and make lunch, or go to the restroom and not have to stop? Or is a travel trailer, you know, being smaller, or the fifth wheel being more luxury? So what do you want?
I would say, adding to this, is think about all the variables. So with a Class A or a Class C or a Class B, your home is also motorized.
Right.
So think about full cost of purchase and ownership. You know, Class A tires are more expensive than fifth wheel tires. Class A motors, you in some cases need a special mechanic to work on, versus, you know, a regular pickup truck I can take to any dealership and have my Ram worked on at any Ram dealer. Things like that are things that we kind of considered as well. And
you'll still need a tow vehicle anyways, unless you're going to drive that motorhome everywhere.
Right.
All right. Should I get a 4x4 or a two-wheel drive?
4x4. That's the easy question for me. I like 4x4s much more. You get a little bit more clearance out of them. But even on days like today, we're on a beach.
We put it in four-wheel drive?
Put it in four-wheel drive. I didn't necessarily have to.
No.
But the other thing is sometimes some of the places that you might go, you might need four-wheel drive to get in or out, depending on the kind of camping you're doing and what you're driving on. We've gone up some pretty steep roads, dirt roads, gravel roads, towing a trailer, and in two-wheel drive, had the back tire spin a little bit, but switched it over to four-wheel drive, everything was perfect.
Right.
Leave us a comment. We've answered 7 or 8 questions so far, so let us know. What do you think? What's your preference? Travel trailer, fifth wheel, 4x4, 4x2?
There you go. All right. And our next question. Oh, single rear wheel or dual?
Boy, when she put these questions on the list, she stacked them up for me, I'd say.
Right?
Now, me, I get this one a lot, and some people say, oh, you should never tow a trailer that big without dual rear wheels. I go based on what the truck's rating is. Payload tends to be the trickiest one, because that's where you're going to max out more than you're going to max out on towing capacity. My truck's capable of towing over 25,000 pounds, but the payload won't let me really get to a trailer that's going to be 25 or 30,000 pounds. So payload's the thing, and I always try and give myself extra wiggle room on payload.
All right. Is it all fun and games? We would want it to be.
We wish.
But no, it's not. And so, you know, we did that video of It's Not a Vacation. I think we answered a lot of questions in there. So if you have time, you can go back and check out that video. If you still have more questions, we're happy to answer those questions, so you can always leave a comment and we'll get right back with you on any of those questions that you should have that we haven't answered yet. No, it is not all fun and games. There is definitely a lot of work in all of this stuff.
So if you're thinking about RV living and you're still living in sticks and bricks, is it all fun and games living in your sticks and bricks?
No.
Pretty much living in a sticks and bricks and RV is about the same.
Right.
You can just change locations when you're in an RV.
Right. All right. Next one. What is it like to travel with a dog? I wouldn't do it without my dog. I don't find RV traveling with a dog difficult. She loves to go. Now you want to make sure that you have a dog who likes to be in a vehicle rolling down the road.
That helps.
So if they're not a good travel companion, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. There's people out here doing it with cats, and cats love to travel, and some cats are scared to death of a vehicle. So I could not imagine doing this without our dog.
But do research, because many RV parks limit the number of dogs that you can bring into their park and the breeds.
And the breeds, yeah.
So if you have some of those breeds that we don't agree with, but that are on the list, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, you may want to reconsider some of that, because
Yeah.
a lot of RV parks limit it, or just take the time to find RV parks that don't.
Right. All right. Next one. Is it hard to stay in touch with your family and friends?
Go ahead, this is you.
No, I don't think so. We have actually seen our family more since we've been on the road. We don't have to buy those airline tickets and whatever. We've planned going to see our families and our friends. We spent the whole summer up in Maine because we wanted to visit our friends that we used to have when we were there and raising our kids. So no, I don't think so. And just remember, everyone is always a phone call away, no matter what. Next.
Talks to our daughter every single day.
Well, that's my next one.
Oh.
Do you get homesick? Well, I have my home with me, so no, I don't. Do I miss my kids? Yes, because we've always lived in the same town, so we were always able to visit whenever we want to. But we'd get a phone call every day.
I think the military time that we spent in made a big impact on that too, because
Right.
we were stationed in places like Guam, Washington, D.C., Texas, and we didn't have family in any of those locations. So we learned to be away from family.
Yeah, we've been away from family for 33
Yeah.
years. We just go and visit. I think this makes it easier to go and visit.
Right. And they get to come and visit us when we're in cool places.
Right. So, are you on vacation all the time?
Absolutely. Party all the time.
You wish.
Okay, I do
No,
wish.
no, we're not. We did do a video of the work-life balance, just to give you guys some insight of how we balance our life. So we're not on vacation all the time, but we do try to take those days to make it feel like a vacation.
Right.
Just the other day, we came down to the beach and we did nothing but sit on the beach and watch the waves. Is that a vacation? Heck yeah!
Certainly felt nice.
Right? We had no cares in the world whatsoever.
None.
All right, next one. Ooh, how do you choose which state to domicile in?
Okay, so when we were first thinking about this, I was doing a lot of research. Now, my research said Florida, Texas, and South Dakota are the 3 best states for full-time RVers, and there's a whole lot of reasons. I'm not going to go into all those because
That's coming soon too.
It's coming soon too. We have a plan for a video on that because we chose South Dakota for a lot of reasons. So I think you just do your research and find what fits best for you.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with Texas that is in the research is, Texas requires that you have a vehicle inspection sticker. So if you're gone from the state and your inspection sticker expires, when you come back to the state, you got like 3 days
Yep.
to get your vehicle inspected to get it back right.
Right. So we will go more into depth on the difference of each of the states to make that decision easier for you. All right, our next one. How do you get your mail on the road? Well, that kind of goes with that, and we'll definitely explain more. There's many companies out there that do mail for full-time RVers. Currently, we are still residents of Alaska, and currently our children still get our mail for us. And if they receive something that looks important, then that's, again, another phone call or take a picture of it and send it to us. Do we need this? A lot of times they can just take a picture of it and I can print it out if I need to. So that's been really easy for us, but that will change when we get our residency in South Dakota. We will go with one of those mail order, mail companies,
right.
And we'll give you more information on that also. See, even more reasons to continue watching, hitting that subscribe, because we're going to bring you all of this information in the months to come.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Did you have to convince one or the other to take a leap of full time?
I wouldn't say that there was any real
really.
convincing. I mean, there was a lot of discussing.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of how are we actually going to be able to do it financially.
Right.
But I don't think either one of us, well, I know I wasn't, but, you know, because it was kind of my idea.
It was your idea, not kind of. It was your idea.
But I didn't think I had to convince her. I just had to prove to her how it was a feasible idea and how we could actually make it happen.
Right. I think a lot of it for us is that we have always just traveled. You know, being in the military, you travel. We just always gone someplace, and so sitting still for 5 or 6 years is just too much.
Right.
Time to travel. So we did. All right.
Next page.
Next page. Moving on. Let's see. Have you ever thought that you wanted to go back to the normal life? Heck no.
No. Now, we will plan on it later on. We have a plan. Some of it's going to depend on finances. Some of it will depend on how things just continue to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we certainly thought we were going to have to go back to sticks and bricks living at least for a short period of time after our RV got wrecked, and we were looking at potentially 6 months or more of repair time.
Right.
You know.
Thank God that didn't happen.
Right. So no, at this point, almost 2 years in, neither of us have really considered going back to a sticks and bricks life.
Right. Yeah. So our plan is either continuing to stay in the RV in an RV park somewhere, or buying a tiny house on a piece of property, and which would leave us sitting still, but still staying small.
Yep.
All right. Next one. This one's fun. What small appliances should I bring in the RV? Well, what do you use on a daily basis that you just can't live without? That's what you're gonna bring. Me, we brought our stick.
If it will fit in the RV.
All right, don't bring your big dishwasher.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Me, I brought our vacuum cleaner, our stick vacuum cleaner. It stores really easy. And I brought our foodie because Gordon uses almost daily.
Yep.
And who can forget a coffee maker? You know, we got to have that. So think about, you know, your size. What do you use every day? That type of stuff. That's what you're going to bring.
Some things just make it easier. You know, both of our fifth wheels have had onboard vacuum systems.
I've never used it.
Never used it in either of them, because the stick vacuum is much easier to use and does a much better job.
It's very handy. Just grab it and go. So the hardest part I have with that is keeping it charged.
Right.
Is it hard to be with each other 24/7?
Only on days that end in Y. Today and yesterday. I'm just joking. No, but what I will say is, if you don't have a good marriage and a good relationship with your spouse,
it's not for you.
Going from 2,300 square feet down to 250 square feet.
And working all day and just coming home and spending a few hours and stuff. It is an adjustment, but we've had a strong marriage. We enjoy being with each other. She's
still my best friend.
And that's just, you know, if you yeah, we have arguments and we have disagreements, but so take the dog for a walk, you know, or go to the grocery store. See, honey, I'm going to the grocery store. I don't know what I'm buying, but I'm going, you know.
And we've been doing good because she hasn't driven for like a year,
Right.
so she hasn't gone to the grocery store, so I'm doing good.
So we're doing good. All right. How much does RV living cost?
How much money do you want to spend? I mean, literally,
Really?
you can buy a $20,000 RV, you can buy a $100,000 RV, or a $200,000.
You can stay at a
RV.
park that costs $100 a night, or you can stay at a park that costs $25 a night.
Right.
How much do you want to spend?
Right.
What is your budget? There's so many different variables
And-
out there.
right,
I
and
can't
there's-
answer that question.
And there's a lot of ways to change the cost.
Yes.
You know, part of the reason why we're staying 1 month at a time
Yes.
right now is it's cheaper to stay 1 month than it is to stay 1 week.
Yes.
But it's also cheaper to stay 1 week than it is 1 day. Well,
Correct.
not 1 day, but your daily rate works out better.
It does, it does. And we will definitely go into that more also, and I have discussed that in past videos too. We'll make sure that that link is down below because there's a big variety of ways to save money on RVing. Does the trailer feel small from time to time?
Yeah, I would say so. I
Yeah.
mean, we're in a pretty good sized trailer, but I think the thing that we did with the fifth wheel is we expanded the space in areas we needed bigger space.
Right.
You know, we've got a pretty decent sized living room in our fifth wheel right now with a big 65-inch TV.
Right.
So it doesn't feel small there. The times I think it kind of feels small is sometimes in the kitchen. It gets a little tight when there's just more than me in there. And then the bedroom is a little
I'll
snug.
stay out.
The bedroom's a little snug, but all in all, I don't feel like, I mean, that's why we've decided that when we
Right.
do go back to regular living, it's going to be small.
And if you feel like it's getting small, go outside. Go
Right.
for a walk. Go for a hike.
Right.
Get outside and,
Yeah.
and go do something.
Yeah.
You know, we spent the last 2 days inside because of the weather, but we're outside today. It's
Right.
just, it's beautiful. Oh, do things move around in your rig when driving?
Heck no, she's awesome about putting stuff away. I mean, it's
Right?
like putting together a puzzle the way she does stuff.
Well, just keep in mind that when we had our accident, everything was still where it was pretty much. I mean, there was a few things that had moved, but I didn't break, none of our dishes got broke. None of our food in our pantry even moved.
Right.
You know, so it all depends on how you pack it up.
Right.
All right, enough on that one. Jeez. Okay. What is the hardest part about full-time RVing? Gordon, you go first.
Ooh, yeah, I don't really find that much hard. I mean,
I
yeah,
didn't give him any time to prep for this.
Well, I really don't. I mean, taking care of the black tanks, that's pretty easy once you get a system in place. Emptying grays and all that, easy. General maintenance for an RV is easy. It's the challenging things that you've never done, but there are other YouTube creators out there that do a great job on doing how-to videos and step-by-step demonstrations. So if your furnace goes out, watch a few videos, figure out, you know, how to troubleshoot it and then how to repair it. I've done a repair on a furnace and it was simple.
Right. For me, the hardest part is finding that next RV park. There's a lot of research that goes into that because we don't want to end up in the same situation that we were up in Maine. I want to make sure that we get a good park, and they're not always easy to find. How often do you move? I move every day.
She does, but typically, you know, depends on the time of year and kind of what our plans are. We're trying to stay at a spot for 1 month at a time now because, like I touched on a little while ago, it's cheaper. I
Right.
mean, our winter in Texas, on average, is between $15 and $20 a day.
Yes.
For RV parks, and that's RV parks with full hookups. And predominantly, we've been on a concrete pad at every spot.
Yeah, we have. We have on every one of them. So, and you know, it's just, so let's just take, for an example, the one that we're currently in is $495 a month or $275 a week.
Right.
You do the math.
Right. Pretty easy math. Now, the other benefit to staying in a spot for a month is you're not rushed.
Yeah.
You're not rushing to see things around you.
Yeah.
You're not rushing to go and hit this attraction or that attraction. You feel like you have more time, so you're able to
Relax.
slow down and relax.
Right, and you don't get to do that on a vacation.
Right.
Alrighty, we've got 10 more to go. What is your general rule for travel days? How far do you drive?
So I used to be the guy that was like, let's do 700, 800 miles. And part of the reason we're full timing is because when you're doing 700 or 800 miles a day, you're not seeing anything.
Right.
So I'm all for 300 miles.
I like 300 miles too. What he just said is there was one year that we came back from Guam and we went from California to North Carolina in 4 days. I wanted to shoot him.
Day 4 was only like 4 hours, so it was really 3.5 days.
So
and we did that with not an infant, but
no,
what was he
like 2?
So,
right. And the last time that we went from California to North Carolina, it took us a month.
Right. So
that's how we travel now.
Much more enjoyable.
All right. How do you plan on where to go next? We just brainstorm, you know? We just talk it out.
We talk it out, talk about things and places that we'd like to see. You know, part of why we're going to South Dakota for the upcoming summer is, you know, Mount Rushmore and so many other places, Black Hills and all that. You know, real beautiful scenery. We love going to cool places like that. We love hiking in places like that and getting out and experiencing it. Sometimes it's something just as simple as Alice is strolling Instagram and she sees a really cool place and she's like, ooh, let's put this on the list.
Yes. Yeah, I do that a lot, and I just kind of keep track of everything of, you know, where we wanted to go. When we first started full-timing, we really wanted to get back to New England and see all of our friends and family, and that's why Maine was on our list to do. Of course, our first summer we did work camping, and so we planned it for our next summer. And so that's kind of how we plan on where to go next. How do you decide which park to stay in? Research, research, research. I read reviews. I read reviews on our RV Trip Wizard program that we use. I go to Google and I will read the reviews on Google because they're totally different. I will read some of the reviews on the campgrounds, but those are all going to be positive things. So I don't take those into account much, but I will read them occasionally. And you can also go to TripAdvisor and Yelp. They do those too.
Campendium, you know, a lot of different resources that you can review the parks. Every now and then, you're still going to strike out and end up at a park that is maybe below what you wished it was.
Right.
And so you're stuck with the idea at that point in time, do I just accept it for what it is and make the best of it? Or do I potentially lose a certain amount of my money by breaking my reservation and leaving and going somewhere else?
Right.
Unless it's really bad, we're going to pretty much always just stick to our reservation and deal with it.
Right.
Just because
it's only a period of time,
yeah.
You know, you're not in it for a year. So, yeah. All right. Do you have a hard time finding RV sites? Well, that's going to depend on the time of the year, how far in advance you're booking, and where you plan on going.
So the thing to think about is, am I trying to reserve a campground within 30 miles of Glacier National Park, Arches National Park, Yellowstone National Park, Yosemite, some of those
you
big,
keep going on and on.
some of those big locations.
Right.
Am I trying to reserve a spot there in
Next
June
month?
or July or August? Because if you're trying to go to one of those parks during the summertime, that's peak time, and if you haven't made your reservations months. Sometimes 6 months in advance,
yes,
you're probably not going to find a spot.
Right.
Now you might be able to find a spot, say Sunday through Thursday, but Friday through Saturday is going to be booked. You know, people will leave on Sunday, so you might be able to get something during the week.
Right, right. So our South Dakota plans have already been booked. I did that back in December, and so I know that we're all set for South Dakota, because if I wait until May, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
All right. How long do you list your rig when you are making reservations? I tell them that it's 39 feet. It's technically only 38 and a half.
Right.
But what's a half a foot? And I let them know it's a fifth wheel because I need a place to park my truck. So they add and of course RV parks know.
Most RV parks know what the length of their sites are and what you can fit. They got a few questions, but usually it's pretty easy to figure out. Go with what the factory says is the length. I never include the length of the truck.
Do you need a generator for the RV? No, you don't.
You don't need it, but you might want it, because our tow behind trailer, we could go probably about 3 days depending on how much electric we used before our batteries would just kind of drain out.
Right.
But with a generator, you run it a few hours, you recharge those batteries, and you can extend your life out in the wilderness.
Yep.
So depends on what kind of camping you're going to do. If you're going to be camping in RV parks all the time and plugging in, you don't really need it.
Yeah, I mean, our Alpine had an onboard generator, and we had it for a year and a half before our accident. I think it had 20 hours on the generator, so we don't use it a lot. We have 2 with ours now, and we haven't even used them. They don't even have gas in them yet.
They're in case of emergency break glass generators.
There you go. All right, getting down to the dirty part.
Uh-oh.
Do you poop in your RV? Of course we do.
Of course.
It's my house.
So what a lot of people don't realize, I know there's a constant debate in Facebook and in forums and stuff like that about this, but your RV septic system or tanks were designed to work and do this.
Yeah.
If you use them correctly, they work fine and you'll have no problems. Now, by correctly for your black tank, that means use a lot of water.
Right.
You know, water is your friend when it comes to using your black tank. I did do a black tank video. I'll make sure it's linked below, but yes, and I don't know, do we have a separate question about toilet paper?
We do.
Okay.
What's the best kind to use?
Okay, so we use RV Safe. Again, a lot of people say you don't have to use that. Just use toilet paper that has the septic safe markings on it. We tried that, didn't like it because it didn't seem to break down as quickly. So we're willing to spend that little bit of extra money for toilet paper that's marked as RV friendly.
Yeah, best place to buy it is at Walmart. It's the less expensive. Don't go to Amazon. It's very expensive on Amazon, and we buy the Scott brand. All right, now that the dirty stuff. Oh, how to keep your black tank clean. We just said that. Check out for the video below to learn how he does it. I think he overdoes it, but our black tanks are perfect. We've never had a problem with them, so maybe he doesn't overdo it.
I do it just right.
There you go. You keep us smelling pretty, honey.
Right?
All right. What do you do for internet? Woo. Well, because I did work, so we had to have dependable internet. Because we do upload videos every week, we have to have dependable internet. We went through Bix.
Well, we went through Mobile Must Have to buy our PepWave router and antenna system, and then we went through Bix Wireless to buy the SIM card to put in the router. It's an unlimited SIM card. Now, the router wasn't cheap. The unlimited SIM card with the plan is not cheap, but we have very reliable internet.
Yes.
We started out for probably 8 months without that.
Right.
And it was a challenge. When it came time to upload a video, we would literally get in the truck, drive 20 miles down toward like a Walmart or outside of a Starbucks and find good internet and connect to their internet to upload a video. And sometimes I'd be sitting in their parking lot for 2 hours just to upload a video.
Yeah. So having it with us has been fabulous. So
RV park Wi-Fi is totally unreliable.
Now, we're not being paid or affiliates or anything of Mobile Must Haves or Bix Wireless, but we strongly encourage you to check them out.
Right.
And for the best RV Wi-Fi or internet as possible. All right. Oh, honey, we are on the last question.
Woohoo!
All right. Would you do it all over again?
Not a minute would I do over again. No.
Every minute of it and then more.
You know, even the fact that we wrecked our brand new trailer.
We did not wreck it.
Well, we didn't
Somebody
wreck it.
Wrecked it
Somebody
for
wrecked
us.
it for us. But even all of that, I would still do it all over again. This has been an experience of a lifetime. We hope to keep it being an experience of a lifetime, and we really do hope to bring you along with us on this experience. We hope information that we share through our channel will help you, and we're trying to grow our community so we can help the entire community.
Right.
You know, because in comments below, if we didn't answer something in our comments in the video, maybe you'll find something down below in the comment section to help answer your question. If not, ask a question in the comments, and we'll answer it.
Right.
Even with 5,000 subscribers and a bunch of comments on questions and stuff on videos, I still read every single one, and I still reply pretty much to every single one.
Even when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still sleeping.
True.
Well, I want to say, I know it kind of ends the video here, but I want to say thank you to everybody who is our subscribers and everybody who watches and hasn't subscribed yet. While if you do watch us and you're not subscribed, why?
Yeah, why aren't you
not,
subscribed yet?
You know, it doesn't take
cost
that
anything.
much.
It's free.
It's free.
Subscriptions are free,
Yeah,
just
and
like likes are
if
free.
you don't want the emails to come to you when we put out new content, just don't hit the bell, but you can still subscribe. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Mahalo.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah.